Hi everybody, welcome back. Okay, you hear noises and thuds and all kinds of weird noises in the background. Please know that we are having a storm here with heavy wind. So that is indeed the cause. Anyway, this is a video on which I really want to enter into a discussion with you, and therefore I'm going to try and reply to every comment, or at least show that I have read it, okay? Or at least I'm going to try to. So here we go. Since the day Diana died on the 31st of August 1997, we have all had sympathy with her sons. Truth and fact. We heard all the stories of a cold Prince Charles, yet Charles took his son skiing and fishing, etc. But then again, we also know that between his job and Camilla, he likely did not have much time for his sons. Besides, they were mostly away at boarding school, where they relied on staff and friends for care and empathy. Now, I don't think Harry's friends at 12 and 13 years old knew how to provide care or empathy, and from Harry's own account, he was a fairly nasty little kid. So I don't think the staff felt particularly empathetic towards him either. So maybe there was a little emotional damage at the time. Actually, it is very likely that there was. But if you read Harry's book, you will read that he only shed a few tears and then not again. Okay, now for the part which really shocked me, but once I thoroughly digested it, it actually made sense. Okay, so I was speaking to someone online who professes to have studied psychology and worked with problem children, and later in her career it included teenagers and young adults who were addicts. Okay, so she asked me, how do I know that Harry's emotional problems and depression stem from the death of his mother? I said, I don't know it for a fact. It is basically based on what he himself and the media told us. Well, wait for it. Are you actually sitting down? She says she does not think Diana's death was the cause of Harry's bad behavior, his mental issues, or his depression. She says because staff, reporters, and the public assumed it was the case, it had become a convenient excuse for everything, and hence Harry got away with everything because everyone was taught or manipulated to feel sorry for Harry. Harry very quickly learned to manipulate everyone using the death of his mother as an excuse. Later, while he was in the army, this behavior stopped completely and likely even stopped before he left school. Now, this person acknowledges that Harry had issues: envy, low self esteem, not very intelligent, and likely ADHD. She's not sure of that because she has not consulted with him. She's just saying that it is quite possible and it appears to be the case. And maybe on the odd occasion, she does believe that he may suffer from depression, but not because of Diana's death, but because of his isolation, his jealousy of his brother, which manifested when he was a toddler already, his aggressive nature and anger issues, his spoiled and entitled attitude, etc. But according to her, nothing she read or saw in videos or interviews or articles or even in his own book indicate that his issues are related to Diana's death. She thinks that by the time Diana died, the boys were already in boarding school. Diana already had a life away from the palace and them, really. So it wasn't like a mother he came home to every day, one who made him dinner and tucked him into bed every night. No, she may have done that when they were together, but since the separation and even before, there were extended periods of time without Diana. Yes, her death was a shock, but did Harry's life change drastically after her death? No, it didn't. And therefore, this person thinks that after the initial shock and the funeral, Harry had normal pangs of sadness and missing his mom, but she cannot detect any sign of utter devastation. Not then and not now, and not about his mother's death. She says it is difficult to thoroughly assess Harry without consulting and doing thorough testing on him. According to her, and in her opinion, he needs a brain scan, various blood tests, and a proper physical in order to eliminate any and all physical ailments. She points out that although she can't say for sure without the scans, etc., but Harry displays many of the symptoms of frontal lobe damage, particularly the personality changes, impulsive behavior, memory, inability to or lack of planning skills. A person with frontal lobe damage often battle to control his or her anger and aggression. He or she will also make inappropriate comments, not even realizing that it is a little off color or not appreciated. Now think of Harry's entire chapter on his Todger, not appreciated or appropriate. Think about the story about his first sexual encounter, not appropriate for general consumption either. Calling someone a pucky or a raghead, not appropriate either. And the fact that Harry cannot see or really understand that it is inappropriate may not be because he is a spoiled idiot, but maybe because he really cannot understand the emotions that go with such remarks, and because he cannot apply reason, but instead these things pop out impulsively. Remember, all the things he said which were not true, like his father never had him on the back of a bike, etc. This so-called memory loss can also be attributed to frontal lobe damage. The other issue is that although someone with frontal lobe damage can recover fully, it usually takes time. But usually there are varying types or grades of recovery as well, from partial to not at all. The other major issue is that the effect of frontal lobe damage can get worse over time. If not treated properly, the secondary effects like memory deficiency, like impulsivity, aggression, anger, mood swings, etc., will interfere with rehabilitation or even prevent it, or will make the existing problem worse. So this person suggests that before anything else, Harry's brain needs to be looked at to eliminate a physical medical condition such as brain damage. Remember, even a forgotten injury as a child could have been the cause, and at the time, everyone gave him a pat on the head and a kiss on the forehead, not realizing how serious it was. Next on her list is to determine for how long and how often he had been smoking marijuana, particularly when he was younger, because chronic use of cannabis during adolescence, a time when the brain is still developing, is 100% correlated with lower IQ and cognitive defects. But that is not all. Although it is generally known that magic mushrooms help with the effect of depression, it can also be potentially very, very dangerous. There is such a thing as flashback hallucinations, and these flashbacks can occur long after the psilocybin or psilocybin, I don't know how to say it, PSILOCYBIN, of the mushrooms have left the body. Just think, imaginary car chases in New York. Well, there you go. Long-term use can also have a long-term effect on a person's personality and mood. Well, we know all about that looking at Harry. So, to make a long story short, it is the opinion of this person that Harry's mental issues are more likely due to physical causes than it is due to Diana's death. According to this person, it is possible for a person to carry the effects of a traumatic event during childhood. But she says that Harry would have displayed these effects in childhood already and not suddenly as an adult. No, it would have manifested a week, a month, or 2 to 3 months after his mom's death and continued or worsened into adulthood. And if that was the case, how did he get into the army and the position he held while in the army? That is another question, but let's continue. Now, we don't really know how Harry behaved as a 13-year-old except for what he told us in his book. But if Harry suffered trauma, deep, serious, lasting trauma, and not just deep sadness, which would have been considered normal, then he would have displayed a handful of the following symptoms. He would have been jumpy and easily startled, develop new fears, have nightmares, talk about the event a lot, or draw pictures depicting the event, or reenact the event in play, keep asking about the details of the event, have intrusive thoughts, have difficulty with his memory and concentration abilities, often be confused, disorientated, and suffer from mood swings. Did Harry suffer or display any or many of these traits in childhood? If not, then I'm going to side with this person who wrote to me and said no, Harry experienced the normal deep sadness of losing his mom. A lasting sadness, of course, but he did not suffer lasting trauma because of her death the way he wants us to believe. Now, I'm not a professional, and this professional wanted me to make sure you understand that she has not consulted with Harry, and therefore this is only her hypothesis based on her education and what she reads and hears about Harry. But based on that much, she is of the opinion that Harry, and now his wife, of course, is abusing and using Diana's death to cover up their own misdeeds, abusing and using Diana's death to make money, using and abusing Diana's death to get what they want, abusing and using Diana's death to manipulate people. It is her opinion that Harry's current delusions are likely fueled by substances and a nagging wife. She also followed the cross-examination in court, and it is her opinion that there are other forces behind Harry, namely drugs, the wife, and or false prophets and friends, because to her it is obvious that part of the cross-examination, Harry was playing a role, but it was equally obvious that by day 2 he realized that he had been caught out, and hence he resorted to sarcasm, saying things like, "If you say so," and eventually he fell back into the truth, saying things like, "No, I do not have evidence." According to this person, she was actually hoping that Harry would be stopped at the airport and refused entry into the United States. She says she would have loved to have recommended a very good neurologist and psychiatrist, because it is her opinion that Harry needs to be seen by a neurologist first and a psychiatrist, along with an experienced addiction counselor second. So please, what do you think? I really, really want your opinion, because for me, the possibility of an actual physical medical issue in terms of Harry's behavior is indeed a first, at least coming from a professional. So I would love to hear from you and your opinion. I do, however, hope that this person will write to the palace and share her thoughts, even if they can't do anything about it right now. At least when the time comes and Harry maybe asks for help, they will know where to start. Okay, guys, that's it from me. I hope you found this interesting. I hope that the information will maybe also resonate with someone who may need a few ideas surrounding a loved one's behavior. Okay, so I'll be back to talk to you about Mog and her alleged plans, and maybe we can even speculate as to why she may have had lunch with David Meyer de Rothschild. So, until we meet again, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.